Hi folks, this is Greg with Best Choice Trailers. Today we're going to take a walk around an Ironbull by Northstar 7x12 14,000 pound dump trailer. It's the DTB model. Shown here, it's got the optional 4-foot high side extensions, which instead of about 6 1/4 yards is going to net you about 12.5 cubic yards. Side extensions on a trailer like this would be ideal for things like mulch, framing lumber, and drywall debris. All objects that weigh about 20, 25, 30, 35 pounds per cubic foot. Anything heavier than that, like stone and sand, you won't be able to use for this trailer, at least not filling it obviously all the way up to the top. So we're going to take you around the trailer, show you some of the standard features as well as the options on this particular unit. Starting out up front, standard would be a 6-hole adjustable coupler. It's got a cast coupler. It's got a standard 7,000 pound drop leg jack. For those not familiar, it's a sidewind jack that's got an inner and an outer leg. You pull the pin, it drops down to the ground, and then you've got additional adjustability via the crank handle. We like the heavy duty front coupler that they put on the trailer. It's also got an integrated chain holder right there. It's also got a spot where you can put your 7-pin sealed whip in as well, up in the A-frame jack area. So a 7K jack also comes standard with a grease zert for serviceability. Standard feature on these Ironbull dumps would be a 110 volt charger. If you're not familiar, you can run 110 house current to it and it'll charge your battery up. So a big feature that kind of goes unnoticed on a lot of dumps would be an integrated voltmeter. This is something that these guys do. The reason why that's important would be, this is a power up, power down hydraulic unit. You can tell it's power up, power down because of the dual coil or the dual solenoid. So in the event you've got a dead battery, it's gonna basically, if the bed's already up, it's gonna open the one coil to let fluid basically pass through, but the motor's never gonna engage, and it's basically gonna gravity down and basically put all the fluid that's in the hose and in the cylinder through that reservoir overflow cap. So the voltmeter is nice because you can check your voltage. If you see it getting low, you can charge your battery and you can eliminate that process. Now in that process, when it does dump fluid, it's going to overflow through the cap, and then you're going to need additional fluid. Once you put the dump up, you're going to run out before you get all the way. So again, that voltmeter is a very handy little tool, because on most power up, power down units, a customer will at some point experience exactly what I just mentioned. So they use an interstate deep cycle. It's a group 24 battery. It's a 140 RC or reserve capacity, you can see there. That basically means it's a high capacity group 24. You're going to get more dump cycles out of this particular unit. Also notice they put a guard on the hot for you. So the toolbox, these are little details but things that I like. I love this handle so much better than a paddle lock. They also do the gas shock on the toolbox. Okay, Tarp Kit standard feature. I like that this is an integrated tarp, not something that's a scabbed on aftermarket accessory. It's got ball bearings on it. Notice they also do a sail bar. Sail bar makes it nice. A guy can pull it back to the back, and they've got a bar at the back ready to go that you can put it into. You can grab it with one hand and walk it back instead of having your tarp fabric tore up. Okay, another feature we like would be this integrated body stiffener. Now notice that body stiffener is integrated. It's not something that's welded on like we often see. They also got taller pole pockets or stake pockets for side extensions if you needed to go up taller yet, or if you need something to tie off to. They also put J hooks going down the sides so you can hook a bungee. Now this spare tire mount you see here is an option. It's not a standard feature. This I refer to as a banjo eye. You can use that to hook a strap to, a J hook or a bungee, whatnot. Now one thing about Ironbull, they're a pretty heavy duty trailer. Now one place they're significantly different than most in the industry, as well as most other brands that we carry, would be their tongue and mainframe. So normally when you see a heavy I-beam frame, which this is, normally it's a unibody, so the two of those would become one and wrap back. Where these guys are different, they've got about 4 foot, give or take, of frame there where it's doubled up. Now this is a 6-inch 12 foot-pound I-beam frame, where a lot of times in the industry you're going to get a 6-inch 8 foot-pound channel or roughly a 6-inch 9 foot-pound box tube. This is a 6-inch 12 foot-pound I-beam frame, and it's built like a traditional dump. So again, it's doubled up there. That's a 24 foot-pound in that front 4 or 5 foot area back to the spring hanger. So again, very, very heavy duty dump trailer. Now, these guys also do a pretty heavy box tube bed frame. So this is your bed frame. You'd have your tongue, your mainframe, bed frame. Normally, that's going to be a 3, 4, or 6-inch frame. These guys elect to go with the 6-inch tube bed frame. So you'll see in a little bit, the bed frame, basically your cross members are going to sit right about there. And the bed frame's just going to hold your bed, your cross members, and your hoist all together. So having a heavy bed frame just gives more rigidity to all those components. Another nice feature we like, especially for a high-sided dump where you might need to get up, would be an integrated Fender Gusset, or again, a spot that you can see up in the dump. Now notice they also do a double broke fender. If you're not familiar, you got 2 bends on your fender instead of 1. Little detail, but it gives extra strength to that fender. They paid extra money for it, so certainly I'd like to point it out, as well as the gusset that they put in the middle of the fender. So a standard 10-ply radial tire. It's a 235/80 R16, 8-lug wheel. They do go a little heavier on studs. It's a 9/16 stud, which takes a 7/8 inch socket. They use the Dexter brand axles with the newer forward adjusting brakes, or I think Dexter terms it never adjust. Also, they've got the grease cap. So for the easy lube, simply pull that black cap off and you can service your own bearings. They go with the heavier slipper spring suspension instead of an eye-to-eye suspension. Sidewalls on this are made out of 10 gauge, so the sides and floor are both out of 10. 10's pretty heavy for a sidewall. In the industry, we see a lot of 10 to 14 gauge. 10 gauge is on the floor standard of this dump. That is also pretty well an industry standard, would be a 10 gauge floor. Now, we'll show you in a second, the floor on this is actually parallel to the trailer, not perpendicular, which is one thing we like as well. So at the back, you'll notice the pole pockets for side extensions as well. You also notice they do a cam bar lock running vertical on the trailer. Supports your doors. Do an undermount ramp. Of course, LED lights. You'll notice that ramp is pretty well fully adjustable. There's only a few inches that it can't go together. Now, I'll show you in a second. This door is spring loaded, which is nice. Haven't seen too many in the industry doing this yet, although they are not the only person. So you'll notice that as this door opens, that will spring into place and hold your door. Now, there's a few things. One, that spring is very handy. But 2, you'll notice that door wraps all the way around. We've had a few customers in the past that their door only went to a 90-degree angle. It just goes straight out to the side. And then when they go pick it up, they forgot there's a pile of stone over there and they tweak their door. With this particular unit, it'd be hard-pressed to do that. Now, normally these guys from the top of the wall to the center of the floor, I'll do it out of one piece. On the high side, that's not possible. So again, though, you will see the seam is ran parallel to the trailer. Parallel to the trailer, just in my experience of seeing used dump trailers, tends to hold up. When you have a perpendicular seam, you tend to get more sagging. Now, don't ask me why that is. I'm not an engineer. That's just what I tend to see on trade-ins. So let's open this other door up. Notice that keyway also wraps to the back of the trailer. And I'm not going to crawl up on this door. We'll see if I can show you from the side. But their door is also thicker than most. It's about a 2.5 inch thick door instead of a 1.5 or a 2. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this trailer up for you. Again, we'll show you this handy voltmeter. So this unit here is running at about 9.3 volts, 9.5 volts. I like to see at least 10. If my battery's down to 9.3, I'm probably gonna go ahead and charge it so that, again, on the downward stroke, your pump doesn't stop running, your solenoid or coil will stay open, and it'll make a hydraulic fluid mess in your box. The one thing we see here is a 5/16 scissor. I've independently tested this scissor to about 7.9 tons. Obviously, that depends on where your load is, but an evenly distributed load, I've had it about 7.9 ton. A tongue heavy load, which obviously we wouldn't want, but hypothetically I did a tongue heavy load and we've tested it to about 6.9 tons on a tongue heavy load. As we said at the beginning, this trailer is legally able to payload somewhere in the neighborhood of 11,000 pounds, depending on load distribution. So it'll dump well in excess of what you need to be able to dump. So there's a better look at your tongue I-beam mainframe combo. Notice they do a double channel header where the scissor ties on. Now, one significant difference on Ironbull would be their cross members. They don't do a traditional 3-inch cross member setup. This is an idea that I've seen, they started about 3 years ago, and they're basically making a very heavy duty formed ramp holder that is a very efficient use of weight. Basically the scissor hoist, the cross members, the ramp holders, everything ties in to that fab piece. Very slick idea. Notice on this scissor, it's also a scissor made out of box. We see some that are made out of channel or angle. Of course, tube resists torsional flex, so it's very strong. It's got a safety prop on the far corner. It's got a sealed wiring harness. Now, one thing I was telling you earlier was this tube bed frame. I'll see if I can show you a little better shot to where those cross members are going to terminate into that 6-inch tube bed frame. Trailer is powder coated. Gets a bead blast before. So this trailer can come in a number of sizes, 12, 14, 16 foot. Can also get it with 3 or 4 foot sides. You can get it also with a 2-foot side with a 2-foot extension. It is available as well in gooseneck models. We carry those as well in stock. There's a handful of different options you can get with the trailer. We can do aluminum wheels, spare tire, wireless remotes, etc. If you have any questions on this or any of our other trailers, give us a ring, 717-220-4220, or visit us on the web at bestchoicetrailers.com.